channel. I know it's been quite some time since my last upload. I have some really heavy stuff going on in my life, so I guess I really haven't had the spoons for this, but I know I had said in previous videos that I kind of want to talk about my recovery without having a higher power. So I had something happen last week that really segues into that really nicely. So I actually went to my first AA meeting in 3 years last week. Like I said, I have some big stuff going on in my life that it involves other people, so I'm not going to get into it because not all of it is my story to tell, and I respect people's privacy. So, but suffice it to say, it's been very anxiety inducing, and I actually had a drinking dream for the first time in a very long time. And according to my therapist, this is pretty normal for people in recovery. They are anxiety dreams, and for me, when I have these dreams, I don't dream about getting drunk. I dream about waking up hungover, and getting sober and staying sober in real life the first time has been exceptionally difficult. So in my dreams, I'll wake up with a hangover, and then I'll just feel overwhelmed. Like, how am I ever going to do this again? How am I ever going to get sober again? You know? So anyway, I had the emotional maturity to realize that my recovery was maybe on some shaky ground. So I actually did get up and go to an AA meeting. And I'll tell you, even though I didn't utilize AA as part of my recovery journey, I do find it to be a really great resource for people, or I can't say for people, but for myself. And a lot of people have had success through AA, and it's far be it from me to say that it is or isn't going to work for you, but I will tell you 2 things about AA. One of them is that they're never going to judge you for not believing in God. At least I have never had anybody judge me, and in fact, they have gone out of their way to try to help me cope with the higher power part of the curriculum, I guess, as an atheist. So, the other thing they're never going to do is force you to have a higher power. They're not going to force you to pray or to believe in God for success. That's not going to happen. So I would assume that the founders of AA were Christian people, and that's why they said, God or a higher power or whatever. But I think that there's a reasoning behind that, and it's not that you necessarily need an omniscient or omnipotent higher power to help you. Well, yes, it would be great if we could just look up in the sky and have our, addictions and anxieties taken away. I don't think that that's really why they want you to have a higher power. I think that you have all of this weight of guilt and regret and whatever else, and it's sitting right here on your shoulders. And the first step is to admit you're powerless over alcohol or drugs or whatever it may be for you, but you can't be powerless but keep all of that weight right here. So what you need the higher power for is to take all of this and put it in someone else's hands, so that you now have the capacity to work through your trauma and, your actual physical cravings, your anxiety dreams, things like that. That is, of course, my interpretation. I am not an expert. I actually have not even made it all the way through the steps because I only go to AA intermittently, basically when I'm feeling overwhelmed. So, if you're an atheist and you want to try AA, and for me, AA was the most convenient because there's literally an AA meeting in any city you go to in the United States. You'll be able to find an AA meeting. So it's very convenient, and it does give you that sense of community and not being alone anymore, and somebody else knows how you feel. So if you want to try AA, this is what I did. And in the spirit of full disclosure, you're not supposed to use yourself as your higher power, because what are you doing? Taking the weight off your shoulders and just putting it in your hands? If you have your guilt in one hand and your, regret in the other, you don't have any hands left to pick up the pieces of your life. But any of you who know me know that I am a little bit of a Mary Sue. I feel like I know everything. I feel like I do everything my own way. So I did a loophole, I guess you'd call it. This worked for me. Okay, so as a young person, I knew basically the overview of what I wanted out of my life. I was always a smart kid, so I wanted a really important job. I grew up pretty much upper middle class, so I wanted financial security because that was what I knew. I've always been a feminist, so I wanted to prove I can do anything you can do. Anything anybody could do, I could do it. So these are like the overarching themes I wanted for my life. Okay, when I fell into active addiction, my groomer was providing drugs and alcohol, and of course using me for other things that I don't really want to get into for this video because that's not the point. A lot of those dreams and aspirations kind of just, I set them aside because I was so busy with what I was doing, and I learned to be okay with settling. I learned to be okay with mediocrity. And I worked as a CNA for almost 20 years, and I didn't finish my bachelor's degree till I was 35, and I got my master's right before I turned 37. So I was, a non-traditional, much older college student, because I wasn't able to do those things until I got sober. So getting back, because I have a way of going off on a tangent, but what I did is I used this person that I wanted to be in the future. This person who was going to be a successful, independent woman. Okay, she's over here. She's 5 years in the future. And I took all of this weight and I put it on her because she's successful. She can handle it. So future Jamie had to hold all of the regret and the guilt and everything for current Jamie, so that current Jamie could deal with having been a victim of grooming and having grown up in a household and a family that was dysfunctional and had, normalized the culture. Like I keep saying culture, but that's really what it is. It's like a self-sustaining little, group of people who think it's normal and acceptable to give alcohol and whatever else to children, and that's just, I guess that's how I grew up. But anyway, like I said, you're not supposed to use yourself technically, but I think that future Jamie is more real than the all-powerful Sky Daddy. So that was what I did. And that is what I still do. When I am completely overwhelmed, I say, okay, today Jamie doesn't have the spoons for this, so I'm gonna put this over here for tomorrow, Jamie. And yes, I know that that is a slippery slope toward procrastinating or never dealing with things, but if you can find that line, it's worked for me. Now, I also wanted to let you know that AA is not the only group based recovery system out there. When I was in rehab, I learned about Smart Recovery. I will put the link in the description box, but it is basically a non religious recovery group type thing. I didn't use Smart Recovery. Well, I've already briefly gotten into that I wasn't successful after rehab, but I thought I would use AA because, again, it was more convenient. I could, get to an AA meeting. There's one every hour in every city. You can always find a meeting. So Smart Recovery for me at the time, this was 2011, was pretty much only available in my area online. And I mean, again, this is like 2011. I don't think I even had a laptop then. I had a BlackBerry, of all things. So now, of course, everybody has a cell phone, so it's going to be a lot more convenient. I don't know that much about the curriculum anymore. I've kind of forgotten, but I do suggest that you take a look at their website. It could be helpful for you. And something I've learned about recently within the last month, the Satanic Temple has a group called the Sober Faction, which is also kind of a group style recovery. They have a Facebook page. They have some other resources on their website. Just so you know, the Satanic Temple is not the Church of Satan. The Satanic Temple does not worship Satan. It is an atheist group. They do a lot of really great things for the community. They are involved in a lot of legal proceedings against several different government entities as far as as far as religious freedom and the freedom to not be religious go. And they're also right on the forefront of the women's body autonomy fight. They are out there doing really great work. They have after school programs and things like that. So don't prejudge and think that you're getting into a satanic cult if you check out the Satanic Temple Sober Faction, because that's not what it is at all. It is not religious. It is a non-religious group. So I'll leave that link in the comments as well. I've been pretty active on their Facebook group lately. There's just a lot of really great resources out there. If I forgot any or I don't know anything about some other ones, please leave them in the comments or reach out to me or whatever. I know there aren't that many of you guys, but I appreciate you being here, and I guess I'll see you next time.